Hello everyone, Did You Watch That here, and today I want to talk about a little theory that's been brewing in the community. And I want to see what everyone thinks, and the question I want to ask is if Benjen Stark is actually a traitor who is working for the White Walkers. So let's start with a quick recap. Bran's cave comes under attack due to him being marked by the Night's King, and in a desperate escape, Bran and Meera are cornered and nearly killed by some whites right before Benjen intervenes to save them. He then explains that he was saved by the children of the forest after the walkers left him to die. This is quick and clean, but not so fast. Bran has been marked and the children's magic nullified, allowing the cave to fall. Since we've seen no Horn of Winter in the show, everyone is speculating that Bran crossing the wall will nullify the protective spells the children have placed in it. If this is how the wall will fall and allow the walkers to pass, and if Benjen is truly a servant of the Three-Eyed Raven, then he should know that the walkers have compromised the cave, and he should know that this can potentially compromise the wall, and warn Bran. Instead, he's led them straight to the wall. So what's going on here? Could Benjen be ignorant, or could he be a traitor? So let's explore this idea a bit and talk about a few things starting with Benjen's story. Now, when I first started thinking about this theory, what struck me as the most odd was him being left for dead. We know that whites can be raised pretty much instantly, and we've always seen the walkers pursue people, whether that's the Watchmen we've seen, or Sam and Gilly, or Bran and Meera. Even in the books, Tormund states that they're always there on the outskirts of the wildling camps, watching and waiting. We also know that the White Walkers tend to decorate their sites from the show, and even have done so with a small number of kills, such as with the wildling camp back in that intro scene. So why would they leave a man to die when he can be added to the army or added him to the decorations or the ritual? Even more suspicious is that we know that the walkers did not leave the other members of Benjen's party behind, but used them in an attempted assassination, or at least what looked like one. So why leave Benjen Stark behind to die? Wouldn't he have been a better choice for infiltration? When have we seen the walkers leave someone? Well, if we go back to that first scene in the show, we do have a character who is at the walkers' mercy, and yet we see him south of the wall about to be executed. So did he escape? Was he left to die to the elements? Did he strike a bargain? We don't really know, although a bargain is possible with the White Walkers, thanks to characters like Craster, but we'll come back to that in a moment. Let's continue with Benjen's story. Another important point, and one that I didn't consider that strikes me just as odd, is the story with the children. Creating the walkers was a last resort for them, and it was an act of desperation. We know all magic has a cost, and that all magic is dangerous and unreliable. Mel cannot make another Shadow Child without weakening herself. Bran can't stay in his visions or he'll drown. But this magic should be on another level. The spell to create the walkers was a final act. It created an extremely powerful force, and we've already seen this force backfire in a major way for the children. It forced them to aid mankind to stem the slaughter, and they must have taken losses in this fighting. So saving Benjen with similar magic seems like a big risk, and why would they save a single Night's Watchman? If all magic is dangerous, is it really worth the risk? The White Walkers should have been nearby, again especially if they're bringing the bodies of Benjen's company to the wall, or they're decorating the site for that ritual. Benjen was stabbed in the stomach, he would not have a lot of time. And Benjen has saved Bran, but all in all he's been pretty worthless, so what's been the benefit? He allowed Bran to be captured at Craster's, and to be ambushed by the Whites, resulting in the death of Jojen. He didn't come to the aid of Sam or Gilly, or warn the Night's Watch on the Fist. In fact, we have to wonder why the children or the Three-Eyed Raven haven't made any effort to warn the Night's Watch or the Realms of Men, but that's a question for another video. Now, before I go further, most of these objections are solved if Benjen is the character Coldhands from the book. Coldhands is a character who escorts Bran and the company to the cave of the Three-Eyed Raven, and he takes Sam and Gilly back to the wall from Craster's, as well as showing Bran a secret gate, but George R. R. Martin has said that Coldhands is not Benjen, and Coldhands does seem to be much more ancient, with Leaf even saying that they killed him long ago. Now, this could just be a dodge, of course, but if the characters are the same, then why would they not have introduced him? It would go a long way towards making things less suspicious, and why bring back an actor we'll all recognize 5 years after the fact if he's only doing such a small part? Benjen has to have more to play than just dropping Bran and Meera off at the wall, and at any rate, the character of Coldhands does not seem to exist in the show, and I have strong doubts that Benjen is Coldhands in the book as well. So let's get back to that Night's Watchman and talk about whether Benjen would have made a deal with the walkers. I want to talk about that Watchman because a deal is the most likely scenario for him. The walkers had already run down his partner, they probably would not have let him get away without a deal. And we know that agreements are possible thanks to characters like Craster. However, a Stark would be a little bit different since they're almost universally known for being honorable. But I'm going to go ahead and challenge that narrative a bit because I think it mostly only applies to Ned. And we know that the Starks have put aside their honor for loved ones. Just for some examples, we know Ned lies to protect both Howland Reed and Sansa. You can argue that Lyanna betrays her betrothal to Robert by running off with Rhaegar. That's not the most honorable thing to do. Robb betrays his oaths for Jane Westerling in the book or Talisa in the show. Ned's older brother Brandon Stark is known to sleep around, and he's called the Wild Wolf, I believe. That's not very honorable. So if we have several Stark characters who have put aside their honor for love, why not one who does it for love of self? Honor is easy when you're comfortable, but when you've been stabbed in the stomach, you're in serious pain, or you're facing your own death, not so much. I think if Benjen did make a deal and did want his life spared by the White Walkers, then it was probably a snap decision. We know life in the Night's Watch is not an easy one, and Benjen may have some regrets about it. That's tough to say, but we know that he leaves for the Night's Watch in a hurry when Ned returns from Robert's rebellion. So why did he leave so quickly? Was he upset about something? Was it a snap decision to just up and leave? Does he regret joining the Night's Watch so young?
I'm ready to swear your oath.
You don't understand what you'd be giving up. We have no families. None of us will ever father sons.
I don't care about that.
You might, if you know what it meant.
I ask these questions because I've always wondered why Benjen warns Jon against joining the Night's Watch. Yeah, we know he's being a good uncle and warning him about a hard life, but the Night's Watch is desperate for men. And more importantly, if Benjen is in on the secret of Jon's true lineage, he should know that Jon cannot have a family. The Wall is the safest place for Jon. It removes his claim to the throne, and if Jon doesn't take the Black and does have children, if word ever gets out, they'd be hunted wherever they go. The revelation of Jon's family is probably the most likely reason for Benjen leaving so quickly for the Wall. It's a big and dangerous secret to have to keep. I'm grasping a bit about whether or not Benjen regrets it, but I like to take it as the tiniest clue that maybe he thinks the Night's Watch kinda sucks. He does his duty, but he has regrets about maybe not having a family, and even knowing the danger to Jon, he still wants him to consider another life and not joining an organization that's falling apart right before him like Benjen did. Now that's the popular part of this theory, but let's talk about one more scenario, and that's the possibility that Benjen's just being controlled. The attack on Commander Mormon is very interesting because we haven't seen Whites display this type of intelligence before, where they can target a specific individual. And we know these Whites are either playing dead or they're rezzed on the other side of the Wall. And we can rule out them playing dead. You'd think that the Wall would block that type of magic if the Whites can just cross it. We've seen them explode when entering a cave, so something similar should have happened here. That means that these men were placed where the Watch could find them and then rezzed through the Wall on the other side to attack a specific person. That's a strong indication that someone is nearby to create the Whites. And like I said, we haven't seen any type of intelligence like this before from them. So if they're going after a specific person, that would seem to indicate some type of strong control. And if that's the case, how do the Walkers even know their way around Castle Black, having never seen it? Unless, of course, someone's helping them. I like this theory, but what do you guys think? It's definitely got some holes in it, but it's just plausible enough that it's fun to think about. For me, it reminds me a lot of the Tywin poison theory, in that even if we don't see more of Benjen Stark, it'll be one of those theories that never really gets answered and just debated. I really think they brought back the actor who plays Benjen for a reason. I don't think, he was just here for a little part. But who knows? We've seen no Horn of Winter in the show, just like I said before, so I believe when Bran crosses the Wall, that's it, it's finished, and that'll be how the Walkers will launch their attack. And we know this is coming, because it'll be pretty lame if they just stay on the other side and chill. So once again, I am Did You Watch That? I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Feel free to join the discussion below and let me know what you think. Leave a like or share if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more videos. I've got plans for characters like Daenerys, Cersei, Sansa, as well as some reviews on the Battle of the Bastards, more on Whites and more on Children of the Forest, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys soon. Everyone have a good one.